Okay, it's here, and you're already in it. This is phase 3. Yeah, we came up with another phase rather quickly, and I couldn't be more excited to announce it. We are doing simply just content about gooning from now on. We heard your cries, and this is going to be an entirely gooning-focused episode. We're going to have different gooners on every week to talk about their goon caves, their gooning sessions, people who goon with their family, with their loved ones. And so welcome to phase 3. Juniper and Caleb are here, of course. However, this is a special episode. This is a fucking motherfucking austere occasion. We are joined and honored to have our new permanent producer, Alex Goldman. Welcome to the team, Alex.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm just honored to be here. That's all.
We're honored to have you. You may know Alex from Reply All and his other various doings online, but we aren't actually talking about
I know him
gooning.
as the guy who is going to prevent me from getting any more texts from people being like, why is Juniper so quiet? Why is Wax so loud? Why are you mixing in stereo? Why are you uploading in Wave?
Why are you giving people your phone number in the first
Well, it's not my phone number. It's the Google Voice number. But I do have it. I have it on a separate phone, my old phone, but I keep that on. I look at it every now and then.
You did give out your real phone number that one time.
I did. We had to cut that. Big mistake.
Never a good choice.
But because this is phase 3 and because it's a very special day, we're joined with a beautiful YouTuber. You may know him from the various horrible people on the internet, from Sneeko to the 19 Kids and Counting motherfuckers to Elon. And if not that, then I'm sure you've watched Hassan react to his content. We are joined by Jay Aubrey. How we doing, Jay?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. It's really great to be here. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Always good to talk to you.
Yeah.
So, Jay, did Juniper tell you what we're going to be discussing today? Did she tell you?
She mentioned like VTubers, which I have to go ahead and say, like, I don't know that much about VTubers at all. Like, that is a completely different universe to me.
Does anybody on this call right now know anything about VTubers other than the very, very basics of what they are?
So up until like this recent, I guess you could call it discourse or drama that started like a week ago with that VTuber, what was her name? Pikami, that retired. I like have heard of the concept, but I you know what? I never.
Funny name, by the way.
Sorry, say that again.
Ironic and funny name. Pick me.
Pikami. I never really put that together when I read that name like a million times in the last week.
They're all puns. They're all puns that only make sense if you read them like a Japanese child.
Oh God. Well, I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about that today. But no, for like the last like 6 months, I've heard of like VTubers. I've heard of what they are, but I've done my best to avoid learning about them at all costs. I've never wanted to know what VTubers are. It's always seemed like very like, I don't know, just out there and cursed. I mean, I kind of know what the concept is, but it seemed like a foreign universe that would terrify me. And I'm kind of right based off of what happened this last week.
I would say I feel largely the same, having done some real research. I've watched some VTubers. I've flipped on a stream and see what was going on over there. And I gotta say, it is very much not for me either. I have an ongoing crusade against anime in all of its forms, and this seems like if anime smoked PCP and then tried to fight a cop.
So I'll be honest, I am the podcast anime and manga defender. I watch anime, I read manga. I have a relatively decent manga collection, so we'll be butting heads a little bit here, maybe against your crusade against people like me.
if you're choosing to be the resident expert, Miss Juniper, then I would love to know what your opinion of this like little girl type of anime content is, with the giggles and the stuttering and stuff.
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, it's awful. Yeah, it's just awful. I think generally I mean, it's just creepy. It's just weird. And it's just, it just kind of weirds me out. And I think that's generally I don't know. I feel like most people agree with that, but maybe not most people because it's still being made and people consume it, I suppose. But to me, that's always been like the weak link of like the anime world.
Question to Juniper, and I guess anybody. First of all, do you know who Miku is?
Hatsune Miku?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna get to Hatsune Miku. Don't you worry.
Okay, I'll save that for then. And then, I was gonna say if you're a fan or not, because I don't anymore, but I did have the Miku guitar pedal that Korg made. So.
God, you fucking had that?
So bad.
I did.
Oh God, that thing rocks.
So bad. And it's so
that thing
expensive
rocks.
now. It's like $500 to get one.
I know.
Like,
I'm so pissed that I sold it. But we'll get back to Miku. I'll talk to you about my Miku experience.
Please look up the Miku guitar pedal. It's amazing. It makes a guitar sound like a crying anime girl. It rocks.
Oh, that's hilarious. Jonathan, are you a relative or are you a resident anime head?
No, I'm on the complete opposite. I've never consumed like anything anime related to my life.
So I've
avoided it. Yes.
So this is gonna be like culture shock to you today, learning about VTubers. It's like a double whammy.
That's probably why I haven't like looked too much into VTubers, because like I already really don't pay attention to like anime stuff, and so it's already a bit distant to me. But I'm excited to be educated, I guess.
That was my thought when I first saw these things, is that like the what these are is entirely, that's anime stuff. I don't need to worry about any of it, but they seem to be growing at an alarming rate. And it is this weird thing that happens on the internet a lot, where when somebody gets canceled, they then become like, their like platform becomes more popular. If like a YouTuber gets in trouble, then other YouTubers like sort of become they like feel the boost, either because they do reaction videos or just because like more people are coming to the platform. I just shared with you guys a Google Slides presentation. Now, I don't think I'm going to share this with the audience because I'm basically just going to be reading from it directly, but I did want you to see the cover page because I did spend most of my time on the cover page.
What the fuck? I wasn't prepared for that. You should share this with the audience. I think
where is this?
Too much work went into this for people to not see it.
I agree. At least do the cover.
Maybe I'll just post it to Twitter or something like that. This is
forgot to send that to me, but maybe I'm grateful.
No, it's in the Zoom. It's in the Zoom chat. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, he just sent it. He just sent it a couple minutes ago.
You're missing out.
Caleb, I need to know what you think of this. Also, I am always so on board with wax presentations that you put together. You always, with the gooning episode, people loved your gooning presentation. We are a gooning podcast now.
I'm so terrified to ask what gooning means.
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know. I thankfully don't know. But
so gooning is
explain what gooning is for a second while I swallow my fucking rage.
So I think it's actually really good that you don't know what it is, Jonathan, because I think that in our gooning episode, I also made a Google Slides presentation, and I also like shared links. I didn't share any links this time because you can find out like so much content from these people. I also am realizing I know all of these names of these characters I have put on this slide now, which is not good for my brain. But gooning is a subculture that was born in the cursed land of the British Empire in the UK and Australia. And basically they are a subculture of mostly men, but not all men, who basically make masturbation a lifestyle.
Oh, hell yes. I can't believe
like sex nerds, right? Like the people that like read books and whatever.
Not like, really?
You don't know sex nerds either?
So is that like a group of people, like a community?
They're like, I'm polyamorous plus 3 or whatever. It's like, no. Like, these are the people that do that, but just for jacking off. These are masturbation pros.
That's amazing.
So they have like
gooning. About it.
Yeah, they have gooning caves where they like jerk off, sometimes together.
Like they'll have designated spots to do this.
And
like a room. Like the way that like streamers have a room, or like guys who make models have a room. Yeah. They have like a gooning room,
dude.
Goon caves.
Yeah.
It's quite astounding. If you ever want to look into like, this weird subcommunity, highly recommend it. It's really
funny. I think I found my next video topic.
Please
enlighten me.
Dude, if you talk to one of these, if you actually talk to one of these freaks, I would love to hear what they say to you.
Yeah, that could make for a good documentary. Just interviewing the gooning community, trying to get to the bottom of it. God damn.
Okay, so
well, thank you.
I want to like sort of set it up as a foil to the gooning episode, because gooners are irredeemable. They won't ever see the kingdom of heaven. They are not permitted to speak God's true name, and I think that VTubers are in a very different category. And I have spent a lot of time with their content, and I spent a lot of time with the gooning content too. And I've got to say that this is such a different beast than gooning was in terms of like learning about who these people are and how it operates. And the first video I watched, maybe that colored my perception, but the first video I watched was a guy who does interviews of like internet subcultures, and he just interviewed some of the top VTubers. And when they're not doing the streaming, they're a lot less annoying because they're just like talking. They're not like doing the little giggles and the stuttering. And I mean, one of them was doing the baby voice, but it was still not so like overwhelming.
Yeah.
So for those of you listening who have no idea what a VTuber is, there's not really an easy place to begin. This is a deep ocean, but I am choosing to begin with Japanese idols. This is a culture in Japan that exists all over the world, in which young people are promoted by entertainment companies in order to debase themselves for money and fame. The toxicity and insanity is notched up to an incredible degree in Japan, where even small-time regional idols become micro-celebrities and get their lives completely destroyed in order to reach increasing levels of minor fame. This is made even worse when many of these idols never become famous and find themselves exploited while extracting none of the capital that she has generated. This gets even worse if your idol manager is trying to steal your identity magically to turn into you with the power of her jealous rage and her psychotic insanity, as depicted in the documentary Perfect Blue.
Great documentary, by the way. If you haven't seen that,
Juniper's seen it. Okay,
I have.
I've
very
seen
good.
Perfect Blue.
Yeah. So the whole plot of Perfect Blue, which was my only way into this, because I have seen that movie, is that like this girl is trying to become a pop idol. And this is like a big thing in Japan, I guess. They don't have like one direction per se. They have like a bajillion different directions that they all make little minor celebrities.
Yeah, so I think that, I was going to say really quick, the shocking thing about this for me already is that this is like an idol type of thing. I kind of just thought that for the most part, it was just like normal streamers, like how like Twitch streamers kind of are. But I mean, it's just like noticeably different already, I feel
From what I've seen, I think some of them try to get into normal streaming and then decide to become VTubers.
It's a little bit of both from what I saw.
Yeah, but the Japanese idol industry is very much involved. All of the major players in this industry are either currently idols managers or completely switched from managing idols to managing VTubers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is a big thing right now. It's like it really is growing if people are kind of shifting to this.
It is, and it makes me wonder a lot, like how big the reach can really be. I feel like with something like J-pop and
Satoshi
K-pop,
Kon was writing about this in 1997. You knew that there was unlimited ceiling on this. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. So what they actually are people who use motion capture and a variety of software to appear to be an animated character, usually anime. So they, from what I understand, there are like expensive softwares and cameras you can buy that will completely track your movements and facial expressions and everything. And whatever face you're making, your character will make. Sort of like the thing that the iPhone does where it turns your face into like a unicorn or whatever.
But I have a weird level of knowledge about this because lately I've decided to start streaming on Twitch. using a VTube avatar that is not an anime girl, but instead I had a guy rig up a 3D animated goblin.
See, you are seeing the heaven of God. These anime girl ones are not, but you are.
And yeah, really, it's like the Kinect for your Xbox. You use a program. It's called VC Face. It's free, and it tracks your movements about 1/8 as good as the Apple Memoji, whatever the hell's called the thing. If the lighting is bad, you can't do it. Oh, also, you can pay like $100 extra and get a little thing that you put on your desk, and when you put your hands over it, it makes your hands go up, and it can like detect your hand motion. So yes, I have an embarrassing amount of knowledge about the technical aspects of it.
Well, that's good to know because
our new producer was actually Waldo from that episode of Black Mirror. That funny.
Yeah. Okay. So this is Waldo. This is the Waldo moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, my Twitch channel is called Tough Shed. If you want to come hang out there sometime. Bye.
Please do.
Great name, by the
way. Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I was going to reveal this later that I'm actually thinking about getting into this.
Oh no!
Not as an anime girl, just doing like motion capture streaming, so I don't have to use my face.
Mm-hmm. What would you use for your avatar? I gotta know.
I would use the genie. I would
use the genie?
Yes.
Yeah. I would risk the ire of Disney, and I would use their proprietary characters. And just sort of see how it goes. Fuck, if I get a cease and desist from Disney, that's got to be worth some clout, I think.
Oh, you could definitely do some shit with that. Hell yeah.
I'm also weirdly experienced with cease and desists because I named my Twitch channel. I named my Twitch channel Tough Shed, and the Tough Shed Corporation sent me a cease and desist about a month and a half ago, telling me
really already.
Oh.
Wow,
that's so fucking funny.
I posted about it on Twitter, and a lawyer said, "Do you want me to write a response for you?" And I was like, "Yes, please." So they wrote a response. My channel remains Tough Shed. If I get sued, look for a podcast about being sued.
That's nice.
That's why you made that tweet. That makes so much more sense. Sorry, as a quick aside before we get back into this, Alex, did you make your Tough Shed based on admiration for the Tough Shed Corporation, or are you a Longmont Potion Castle fan?
Longmont Potion Castle, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay. And the thing that's weird about it is I got that handle like 4 years ago, and then about 6 months ago, I was like, I should start Twitch streaming, and then about a month and a half ago, Tough Shed was like, you can't use our name, and I at first I was like, yeah, okay, and then I thought about it for a second, I was like, wait. Let me look up their trademark. Application. And then it was like, our trademark application has to do with sheds and shed-related things. And I was like, there's absolutely no fucking way it has anything to do with Twitch. I am not going to give up my name.
Hell yeah.
Also, before we move on, so sorry to do another side note. I just wanted to say that when I was setting up for my charity stream that I did about a month ago, I think now, there was someone that reached out to me and was like, hey, I can make you a worm, like my profile picture on Twitter. I can make that into a VTube animation for you. And
shit.
And I was like so tempted to do it, but I was like, I was still at that point, especially where I was like, I don't even want to know what VTube is. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
As much as I appreciate this message, I was like, I appreciate what you've offered to do for me, but I simply cannot.
So my plan would be if I were to VTube is to do the genie, and it used to be my like a 3D version of it used to be my Twitter header. I think it's still my Twitch header. But this 3D artist named Rodrigo Garcia made it, and I have worked like the Dickens to track him down on the internet, and I have yet to find him. But he claims this is a full working 3D model image of the genie, and I would love to use that as a VTube thing if I could manage it. But the getting back into sort of the culture of it, VTubers as of right now are pretty much always anime characters. I see other people who use other models. They aren't typically called VTubers, and I think that has a lot to do with the industry, which is my next slide here. The other thing you definitely need to know about VTubers, though, is that they are cringe. They are very difficult to watch if you don't get it. But this is something that they seem to delight in. They don't like being called cringe, but they're also very self-conscious about how weird the whole thing is. A lot of it reminds me of furries, which I think I will be bringing up a lot here because they're largely harmless. And then even when there is a furry who's like a Nazi or a pedophile or whatever, like the rest of the furry community is like, that's not a good person. They're not like, we love him, we still stan or whatever. So, I mean, VTubing in a lot of ways is very new. Like some of the oldest VTubers have been doing it since like late 2017. So in that way, it's about the same age as QAnon, if you want to sort of put that in context.
Yeah, that's an amazing like comparison, like the time frame somewhere.
I'd love for them to be the same day. On the same day, some Q posted to 4chan, and the VTubers took to YouTube.
I wonder if we've had any VTuber QAnon people yet.
Oh my god!
Bleed over. Maybe
there's gonna be.
I don't think that is in the near future, only because of what VTube haters are like right now, and they're largely right wing, which is why I wanted to sort of treat this with a little bit more respect than the gooning stuff, because this is absolutely not for me. But I genuinely don't think they're hurting anybody, and I think any of the VTubers that are hurting people, they generally get like called out and told like, hey, this isn't a good person, don't watch their streams or whatever. Obviously that can go too far the other way with the children in their audience being like, Connor is friends with what's her name, Ventrea, and we don't like Connor anymore, so you got to stop talking to Ventrea, or Ventrea's got to stop talking to Connor.
Are these real like people in the community?
Oh yeah. Connor's a big problem. Connor's a big problem in the community.
Connor. I hope we're
gonna have to answer the Connor question sooner rather than later.
That's good to hear that I was worried with this episode that we were going to get like the whole VTube community angry at us. I was like, am I going to have to lock down? Are we going to like make some enemies here? But it doesn't
I was
sound like we
going
are today.
into it with the mindset of the gooning thing and just being like, this is some weird insular community that's not going to matter. And then I'm like, oh my god, this person has like 50 million YouTube subscribers.
They're
or whatever.
big. It's like surprising how huge they are if you don't like follow them, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I would have not guessed that they're as big as that. I wouldn't have.
Yeah, like I'll just stumble on one on Twitter that's got like 3 million followers that I've never seen in my life, and they're getting like insane engagement. It's like, how am I this disconnected from things? Like,
I guess we are. Yeah, this is just outside of our world.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, I work in a high school, and I don't hear about this there either. Like my students aren't really talking about this. I don't know who their fans are, where these people are coming from. I guess a lot of them are overseas, because a lot of VTubers don't stream in English. Even a lot of American VTubers stream in Japanese. There's even one of there's actually several of VTubers doing like Japanese Duolingo for like the chat from Japan to laugh at them for being bad at Japanese.
Interesting.
Yeah, so these people, they do see their choice of creative expression as they don't see it as like ascendant in the way Twitch streaming at large became. They see it as a fun sort of insular community, which is absolutely adorable, seeing how insular communities on the internet have never done anything wrong, and I don't think we need to worry about them.
Exactly.
It's very strange, and I think it is a confluence of factors that leads to VTubers being as naive as they seem to be. And I think one part is a lot of them are largely asocial in real life, where all of their like communication happens online, and I don't think they know what it's like to not have control over what people say about you. That has been my experience with them, is that they don't know how to react if somebody says something bad about them that's either not true or unfair or taken out of context. And a lot of the time the VTubers make it worse because everybody wants to just like dogpile on their embarrassment.
Yeah, no, that's like kind of one thing that you have to learn when you start to get a platform is just like you got to know when to ignore certain things and like how to respond to certain things.
They are
Yeah, it doesn't
terrible
seem
at
like
this.
I mean, yeah, but as we saw this last week, I mean, I don't know how much we're going to get into like that.
Let's talk about
specific.
last week because I don't even
Yeah.
actually have that, but this is a wizard game controversy, so I think it's worth bringing up.
Yeah, that is definitely how it kind of came up in my purview, how I kind of learned about.
Can you explain
what
it? Because I
happened.
don't actually know. I watched the stream and don't actually know why everybody's so mad.
So from what I understand, I'm not like super like I didn't see like exactly what happened, so I'm just kind of like piecing together from tweets from what I saw. Basically, the Pikami person, I guess, graduated. I guess since I saw that word used, graduated, a lot, and it made me think of like the K-pop scene or whatever. And I guess it kind of is based off of like the whole industry. They're very similar. So I guess she like retired or something. Like she no longer streams, and it was like a planned thing. And a bunch of her fans, I guess, like didn't know that and thought she quit because like the trans community was like harassing her for playing the Harry Potter game, which just wasn't real as far as I'm aware. and there was like a part of her community online that was like, oh, we're going to war with the trans community. And one of the posts that I saw kind of start this off, in the replies, I saw a bunch of people like quote, like I'm not even exaggerating here. Like there was a bunch of people like quoting Hitler and like Hitler clips and shit. Like we're going to war.
Fuck?
Like, yeah, it was like really, really fucked up stuff.
100% true. I saw all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was trying to find some of that.
Christ.
Like, yeah, no joke. These people were like bonkers. I wanted to try to find some of those before we started here, but I think I blocked a bunch of those people.
Yeah, probably for the best. We don't need to
Definitely for the
hear
best.
from them.
No, but yeah. So basically, this like part of that VTubers community like went to 4chan. There was a bunch of like weird shit. Like basically, they were just harassing a bunch of trans people for literally no reason. This is how, yeah.
This is my big concern, and this is something I'm going to reiterate at the end. But my big concern is that right wingers are finding bedfellows in like anybody who finds this cringe, and they're just like, isn't this so cringe? Doesn't this person suck? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, and also men don't need to be putting on dresses and giving puberty blockers to 11-year-olds. And it's like,
Right.
oh my God. It's like I just like watched like 10 different like cringe compilations of VTubers, and
God.
every single one they're like, here's another old fat guy pretending to be a woman. I guess it's just like Caitlyn Jenner or whatever. It's like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, we can't ever like.
And they're like, by the way, everything that you know about the media is wrong. Just look at how many of these people are Jewish.
Yeah, it's literally, yeah. No, I watched one woman. Her first name was Melanie. She was a detestable, horrendous person, and she was also like 23, and she's on there like, get over yourself. You think there's actually this is a new thing. I guess we should talk about this. Sorry for the tangent, but I think this is something we need to address. What the fuck is going on with the new right-wing meme of there is no trans genocide? What the fuck is that?
I mean, it's just like a pure denial of what they've been kind of doing, but they know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just for show. I mean, they know like what they're doing. It's just kind of like what's a good comparison? I mean, that's all part of like their agenda for every point. Like the reactionary stuff that they try to do, like with gay marriage. They were like, oh, we don't hate gay people, we just don't want them to go to hell. It's like they kind of push off their true feelings, or like they try to like hide their true intentions. But I mean, if you have half of a brain cell, you kind of you see through it, right? Yeah,
I guess I mean, I just see like trans people and other people be like, oh, you know, they're setting up for a trans genocide, or they're trying to pass laws that would make a trans genocide easier. And then these guys are immediately like, no, they're not happening. It's
Despite the
very.
fact that they talked about it openly at CPAC like 3 days ago.
Yeah, well, that was so funny when Michael Knowles immediately was like, I didn't say that. I didn't say it. It's like, you're on video. You said it. Like, I don't know.
He literally retweeted an article of his, like the headline was like, Michael Knowles says that we need to do transgenocide or whatever. Like, this is slander.
This is blatantly false. And then I think Rolling Stone, was it? They made another article that was like calling him out on that, like trying to point out that he's like trying to skirt away from what he said. Because I mean, that's part of the grift, you know, they say something that's like obviously meant to be interpreted a certain way, but still to the point where he can like later on be like, well, I didn't say this, I said this. Like it just becomes like a matter of semantics, and it's really
and I mean that's all intentional too. They
for sure.
I would honestly, I don't know the inner workings of that, like I was going to say community, but like that political party. But I'm assuming that it's all intentional when they do stuff like that, because it gets the reaction going longer, and it keeps it going in the news cycle. It keeps news cycles going longer, and I'm sure they know that they have to.
Yeah, it was especially annoying because that the thing you were referring to, Jonathan, was actually like the same article. They just kept changing the headline to appease Michael Knowles.
Oh yeah.
So the first headline says he calls for trans extermination. Next, it says he calls for quote unquote extermination of quote unquote transgenderism in public life. And then the new one then said Michael Knowles calls for extermination of transgenderism in public life and somehow thinks that is not calling for the extermination of trans people. They were on the same article.
That whole like day of editing the headline was honestly really funny from the Rolling Stone. Really good.
That's great.
Yeah, really funny.
So with the just finishing up a little bit of the background around here, Hatsune Miku is basically the originator of what this is. Hatsune Miku is still you can still buy her merch and everything. She is a virtual influencer and virtual like J-pop idol. So she will perform songs and things, but she is entirely generated by AI. And some of her music, I think, is AI generated as well. But she has done collaborations with like big artists and big VTubers. I say she, again, this is a computer program that is like selling merch and going on tour. She has sold out stadiums.
So I went to a concert with one of the bands that did a collab with her, Anamanaguchi. They have, I think the song is just called Miku, where they do that song together. And if I remember correctly, I mean, Miku song, wasn't fantastic song. I gotta hand it to them. Really good song. Miku wasn't there, but they performed that song at the show that I went to like 4 years ago now.
Nice. It seems like a lot of it is just a way to monetize Japanese pop idols without having to pay the pop idols, which is crazy because they weren't paying them before. So what's the problem? But I think it was probably the water was getting a little hot for them. So there is another AI generated VTuber who, Hatsune Miku was like more than a VTuber, although there was Hatsune Miku VTube content as well. But Kizuna AI was really the first.
Are we going to talk about the guy who married Miku?
What?
Wait, what is this?
No, I do not have that on the docket here.
Excellent. Okay,
please tell us about this.
There's a guy who married a hologram of Miku. And he's like currently, I don't know if he's suing or if he's. I tried to pull up the article before we started this, but I wasn't sure if we're going to talk about this. But he married a Miku hologram, and they stopped sending updates and supporting the hologram. So he's like heartbroken because he can no longer like interact or communicate with his legal wife.
It's a tragic story.
It is.
It reminds me of those stories where it's like, oh, this man wants to marry his like pillow, like the girl pillow or whatever.
Black Mirror, man.
Yeah.
This guy is he calls himself a fictosexual.
Yes, fictosexual.
Is that real? Is that what
I'm
it's
a
called?
fictosexual in the sense that I don't believe sex is real because I've never had it.
Yeah, he claims he's struggling to connect with her since the platform stopped updating.
That's so sad. We need to do something for him.
So like, I genuinely do feel bad for this guy, but come on, that is so fucking funny. Like,
It is
like
funny.
It's like the ultimate, like, that's the ultimate problem for like our times. Is like, this is such a good foray into the future.
Yeah,
absolutely. The way that like I mean, streaming services is a good example of that right now. That's kind of going on is where like entire backlogs of streaming services are just disappearing.
Yeah. Now they're going to disappear your wife.
Yeah. You know,
Wife
not to
gone.
defend Aiden Ross, but it is kind of strange.
Here we go.
I know. I mean, I'm not
Funny way to
defending.
start a sentence. Yeah,
I'm not
Lord.
defending him, but it is very strange that like somebody could have so much content out there that just like can be completely obliterated, just disappear. Someone like that, you know, I mean, obviously he should not be doing what he does, but it is strange to me that they would just be able to like eliminate somebody's entire output. Like,
Oh, you mean like when he got banned from Twitch? You mean?
Yeah. It's like when the Beatles broke up, their music didn't just like disappear. You know what I mean? It's like,
Well, I mean,
not that.
have you all been following the De La Soul situation? The band De La Soul?
No,
So,
I didn't know there was a situation with them.
so their music has not been available on streaming services for about 30 years. It's basically since, let me take that back. They haven't been available since streaming happened because Tommy Boy refused to clear the samples. So they've been fighting for the past 20-something years to get their albums out. And
Oh shit!
they just got them out they got them out at the beginning of the month. However, last month, one of the 3 founding members died of a heart attack. So after
Oh my God.
struggling for decades to try and clear the samples, they finally got them out. They had to go through and like talk to each sample like rights holder one by one over the course of like 18
Jesus
months.
Christ.
And even then, there were songs that they couldn't use because they were just impossible to clear. Like there are songs that have been changed and songs that have basically been like reimagined is the word they used because they just couldn't do it. So yeah, it's fucked.
That's super fucked.
Fucked.
Yeah. So I do just want to say, you know, with that background sort of laid on what VTubers are, there's not like a straight line from the AI generated ones any more than there is like a straight line from regular Twitch streamers and YouTubers to this. But it does seem like it is throwing all of the worst parts of financialized entertainment into a pot and stirring them together. I mean, you hear anime fans talk all the time about how artists, voice actors, studios don't ever get paid or don't ever get their projects to see the light of day. Perfect Blue is about like a real thing that happens with women being forced to do things they'd rather not do, sometimes at a very young age, sometimes with people they don't know. And it seems like a lot of that is being sort of made, like turned the dial way up just because it's these industries interacting with each other and trying to financialize it before they care about like the content itself. Because a lot of the content, even if you like it, even if you are into VTubing, a lot of it is garbage just because it's streaming, because they're on there for like 12 hours and they don't get anything. Now, I'm going to talk about a VTuber in a minute who raised $3 million on her graduation stream. And
Jesus Christ.
And her company, which is the first one I want to talk about in the industry here, because I want to sort of discuss these companies. Her company, Hollow Live, is the biggest of the VTube people, and they famously take half of your money. So she raised $3 million. Now, you know, I can understand some resentful weeb or some angry right winger being like, why the fuck are we complaining about her? She made $1.5 million. And it's like, no, she made $3 million. She was gifted $1.5 million by the people who stole it from her. There's just, yeah.
Yeah.
it's an ongoing thing, and I don't see it getting better. It's not getting better with Ticketmaster. It's not getting better with the rights to people's music. I don't see why this would get better when there's not as many people paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, the more middlemen, the more people are gonna take a cut. Yeah.
Which there are a fuck ton of middlemen, and I don't think normal people really know how many they are. I had trouble finding out like how these companies actually do business, and I don't really think they want you to know that.
I mean, I didn't even know this was like an industry until like half an hour ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like I thought this was just like I said earlier, just like a thing that most like normal people can just like hop on and do. But I mean, it sounds like you can do that, but I had no idea that there was like a huge thing here.
Yeah. You can definitely do that, but the issues with the motion capture, where like Alex said, it cuts off or like shows your face sometimes, you need to pay pretty good money to get a motion capture camera and software that can accommodate not having that latency where your face accidentally gets shown to like 100,000 people on your stream. So the big three studios right now are HoloLive, Ninja Sanji, and VSojo. I have compared them to movie studios from my own understanding of what these people do. But HoloLive is absolutely the biggest. If you Google HoloLive, just the name HOLOLIVE, they have dozens and dozens of VTubers in their stable. They have, what's her name? Gorgura. She is the biggest VTuber in the world right now. She recently got more subscribers than Kazuna, who is a AI, not a real person. So this is like a human being who is outselling the computer for the first time, and that she is a product of HoloLive. Big thing about HoloLive that I have heard about is that HoloLive doesn't let their creators really interact with non-HoloLive assets. So they don't do collabs with other entertainers. They will like interact with each other on like HoloLive VTubers will interact on Twitter, but they won't interact with other VTubers who are on other platforms. And they apparently some VTuber got canceled for something. A lot of this is very opaque to me, so I'm trying to make as much sense as possible. But some VTuber got canceled for something, and then every single HoloLive VTuber unfollowed him on Twitter at like the same time.
I bet you some of these accounts are just operated by managers or the same manager in some cases.
Yeah, probably. It's kind of hard to tell. It seems like the thing they value at these companies is the personalities. It seems like they are putting the character first, which we will get into some of these characters. There are so many of them. I just picked some of the more popular ones. But it is also relevant to know that a lot of these VTubers, they will get the software and the equipment they need in order to do this from HoloLive. But then once they sign, they don't own their character a lot of the time. So they have to like, this is just what the audience requires basically of VTubers, is that they have lore, that they have a backstory, and that it develops over time. So you can't just be like a girl who goes to school. You have to be like a girl who goes to a school with all monsters, and you're the only human there, and that's why you have a scar on your face because somebody hit you, but it actually didn't hurt that bad, and he said he was sorry. And it's like every single VTuber has something like this.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's like a little world.
So
yeah.
Do these worlds like play out like on stream? Like what are they actually like like doing on stream? In that case,
it is hard to tell. It is hard. It was hard for me to tell because I'm trying to watch these streams, but I don't know who's HoloLive, who's Ninja Sanji or whatever. So if it appears that some type of narrative or something is building, it's hard to tell if it's going to be like a long-term thing between streamers or if it's just like a one-off joke. But then sometimes one-off jokes become like a big problem for these VTubers, where they'll be like, where like they'll make a joke about like being a virgin, for example, and then like something else about like, also they a lot of them talk like children, so they don't really talk about sex really, but they will like make sideways jokes that are, in my opinion, uncomfortable since they are, or inappropriate since they are children or playing children or whatever. Yeah, but I don't know. Again, I don't like anime, so it is hard for me to,
Yeah, but that's just pretty gross, I think, in general.
Yeah.
The anime aspect aside.
Not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I denounce, like I said, I denounce that. I completely disavow.
So, HoloLive, they are Disney. They make the most money by far, and this has led to them controlling their own output with an iron fist. You think IRL child stars had it bad? Wait until you can't see their faces, and no company can challenge them as a serious competitor.
I didn't even think about that.
It's not good, because I don't know how many of these people are children. Now, I know a lot of the more popular ones are adults, which is good. But I don't know how many of them are children, and I don't know what... I mean, this is something that all sorts of YouTubers, content creators, and stuff are talking about right now, is that there's no child labor laws for children in, like, those family blogs that you talk about, Aubrey. And
exactly.
There's just no oversight, and so I can't imagine it would be like when you watch any of those insane families on YouTube, you can see the sadness in the children's eyes. But what if you got rid of that and nobody could see?
Yeah, you don't see the darkness that you only see glimpses of on the very public family channels,
right?
And they share pretty much everything.
Jay, can we back up? Can you talk to us a little bit about these family channels? I've seen them. I just want to make sure we don't take for granted that everybody knows exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's like always been like a pretty big like subgenre on YouTube, just like family vlogging since like the early like I mean pretty much like the early 2010s, like with like Shay Carl and like a few other like big like vloggers that just started like realizing that there was like a big demographic, like big market
slice
for
of
like
life stuff on the surface. Probably nothing wrong with it.
Well, exactly, and not all of them are bad. Not all of them are malicious if you're going about it the right way, and like not. Like, my whole thing, I feel like when it gets to be a problem is when the kids are, like, not getting any privacy whatsoever. I mean, I don't even think they should be on YouTube in general. I don't think they should have their privacy, like, jeopardized like that at all.
When they're literally tormenting them for, like...
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so many of them realize that, like, okay, we just need to get, like, the most... insane title and thumbnail combination possible so we can get 10 million views, and if that means just completely like like putting this kid's personal information out there, like for them to be embarrassed by, because like a lot of the kids still go to public school. That's the other thing, is like they're getting humiliated on YouTube by their own parents for financial gain, and there is no oversight. Like they're like what you were saying is like, even with child stars, and like there's so much exploitation there still, but like there is some oversight. Whereas with YouTube, you get paid the AdSense, but it doesn't matter who it goes to the parents. The kids don't really.
There's no
Coogan
account or anything.
A kid's PlayStation and like film his meltdown.
That
which
exactly.
Has happened,
Exactly. Yeah, and the only way that YouTube ever takes action is if enough people like. Make a big deal about it on Twitter or YouTube or whatever, and it hits the news, and then it jeopardizes advertisers. That's when YouTube steps in, or at least they used to. Now they are sort of more careful about that stuff because they know how potentially bad it could be for them, how bad it could look. But yeah, I mean, like it's so new, like it's still so new that we don't really know the long-term effects of what this can do to a kid. I mean, we can assume, but like we don't really.
Sure they'll be great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's setting them up for success, I think. But it's like we haven't gotten to the point yet where the kids are like old enough to where they can come out on their own and talk about like.
Oh, that's gonna be so juicy.
It's gonna
like
happen
10 years from now.
It's just a matter of time, and it's just tragic what's happening currently, and I hope that just as time goes on it lessens, and as more people like talk about it, but at the same time they're still getting insane views because like I mean, like, there are regular people that like to watch
Rage
it.
clicks are such a real thing, dude. We all fall for it. As much as I like to pretend I'm above it, like the quote tweet dunk or the whatever, like it's all part of the internet economy, like the outrage, and it's like I don't know, man. All I have to say is I fucking hate computers, and they were a mistake.
I agree.
Yeah, so if you aren't familiar with those bloggers, anytime you have seen an image of a man with a baseball bat beating a PS5 like it wronged him, that is what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, behind every broken PlayStation 5 on YouTube is a crying child and about 300,000 likes.
Minimum.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And with the title prank or
you gotta get prank in there, and then you're fine. You know, then it's not real.
Pranking my 7-year-old by destroying his cherished possessions.
Absolutely owning my 9-year-old.
How do you get to a point where you're doing that? I don't know.
I don't know. It's so many issues at play.
Hurt people.
Yeah, greed and clout, and they're also probably not realizing the hurt that they're inflicting, like the full extent of it. Probably, I don't know. I mean, it really just probably depends on the family at that point, you know. But it's all just horrendous shit.
Yeah. So that's HoloLive. They are probably going to buy one of their competitors, if I had to guess, because they are already trying to do some really underhanded shit to like deboost other creators, like stealing titles, stealing thumbnails, the average stuff, but then also like trying to undermine their different projects and narratives. HoloLive basically only works with women. Ninji Sanji and I don't know if it's V Sojo or VS Ojo. I'm not sure. But they are like branching out into working with men, working with more English speakers, because that's been a big thing for the community the industry, I should say.
This is gonna fuck America up when it gets here.
I mean, it's here.
Yeah, that's actually the one that I've heard of. The one that you just mentioned.
Ninji Sanji.
No, the third one.
V-Sojo?
Yes.
I'm not sure how to say
that one I'm familiar with, vaguely.
Oh, interesting.
Great.
And that's the one that's kind of breaking into English.
They are.
Yeah,
they are.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So Ninji Sanji, they are basically Miramax. They are a scrappy upstart that is trying to make a run at the big boys in a big way, provided a horrendous controversy never completely destroys their good name. So we will have to see if they have a Harvey Weinstein in their midst over at Ninji Sanji. My guess is that they have several, but we will see.
Probably all of them do.
And V-Sojo... Try not to think about it too much. It'll be better that way. See, you thought the problem was that these little anime girls are being annoying, but the actual problem, again, is capitalism.
Oh, fuck. It always goes back to that, doesn't it? It always comes back to that shit. Every time.
And V-Sojo, they are Warner Brothers. After seeing someone make money overseas, two guys got together to make a company that will compete with foreigners by putting all of their content in English. It is founded by a YouTube developer and a co-founder of Twitch.
Oh, wow. Oh.
So it has the technical bona fides. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll see if they're able to make a break for it. The thing is that the market is so saturated right now with different VTubers all basically doing the same thing, and then your odd guy who his VTube avatar is like a hamburger or something, and he's rating fast food.
That guy sounds cool.
That guy sounds awesome. We love that guy.
I'd watch him.
Same. It's already working. See, it's already convincing us.
So that's the industry as it sort of stands. There's other representation outlets. Most people seem to get into it through these companies, though, rather than what we said before about like people just deciding to download the software and do it themselves. This is because it has happened multiple times where VTubers have had their faces shown. I'll get to that under the controversies tab. But
can't wait for that one.
Hey, this is producer Alex. I just wanted to let you know that there are another 50 minutes of whack explaining the world of VTubers that you can listen to over on our Patreon, which is at patreon.com/Western Kabuki. All right, thanks so much.